We got the post-game coverage here on NBA TV. You will hear from Harden, you will hear from coaches, and a ton of analysis from these guys. Hello again, basketball fans. Rick Kamla, Hall of Famer, two-time champ Isaiah Thomas, 14-year vet, one-time champ Brendan Haywood, and James Harden, 44, 4, and 8. It's the most points for an opening game of the playoffs since LaMarcus Aldridge had 46 back in 2014. He was magnificent.
Yeah, and here's the most magnificent thing about it, right? You know the game plan was to stop Harden, right? You know they had all week long to prepare, and every film, every scouting report was this is what we're going to do to contain Harden. The beauty of Harden is he always finds a way to get open and to beat the other opponent's defensive scheme.
Listen, Harden, he's one of the truly special ball handlers we have in this league with his size, the ability to play the point and the two. And tonight he was getting down the lane. He was finding Capella for lobs. He was hitting the three. I think, what was he, like 7 for 11, 7 for 12 from the three-point line. So he just couldn't be stopped. And there's a reason why everybody thinks he's the MVP of this league, and it's because he can have games like this on the big stage. He knows what time it is. He takes advantage of the mismatch when he gets it. His handle is second to none, and he can make a lot of plays, and that jumper's crisp, and he has the best step back in the game.
You know, in a post-game interview, he also said, you know, I prepared for these moments last night. I was in the gym last night working on my step back, working on the shots that I needed to take. And this is how brilliant of a mind he has offensively, knowing and contemplating and understanding what, you know, Minnesota was going to throw at him. He was able to beat it tonight.
Now, LeBron James obviously, had his struggles today. We have documented them throughout the day on NBA TV. Some think that he's the MVP. It seems like most people think that James Harden is the MVP. What kind of statement? I mean, obviously it's a regular season award, but what kind of MVP statement did Harden make out here tonight?
Well, I think he's been making it for the last 3 years that he's the MVP. And it took a Steph Curry unbelievable year that we had never seen for Harden not to be the MVP. Then it took Westbrook another unbelievable year that we hadn't seen for Harden not to be the MVP. And this year, LeBron James, you know, is having an unbelievable year at his age like we've never seen. But Harden, this performance tonight and the way he's played all season, you know, he'll probably be the MVP, but it won't be unanimous.
Well, we know the MVP is a regular season award, but for those people that did write for somebody else besides James Harden, maybe LeBron James, after seeing his performance, they might want their ballot back. They might want to say, hey, man, let me go ahead and scribble that name out and put James Harden's name on top, because he had that type of special performance. And the thing was, it wasn't this was a pressure-packed environment. Houston needed all 44 points.
All of them.
This was a close game. Minnesota came to play, and Harden shined big. He shined bright on the brightest stage, and that's been one of the critiques of Harden is in the playoffs he doesn't show up. Well, guess what? He's starting to shed that label.
I mean, he was big time, obviously, here, and the Rockets lead the series 1-0. Now, let's go back to some of the key plays in the gut of this game, like under a minute to go. You've got a three-point game. CP3's got the ball, and they force a turnover from him. I mean, he's probably sitting there waiting to be fouled. Minnesota doesn't foul. They play it out. Isaiah, take us through this.
Yeah, and as you see, CP throws the ball long. You know, he's expecting to get fouled. You know, D'Antoni's, you know, telling him to foul early. And then they got Butler, who's coming up. D'Antoni wanted a foul. He did not want him to get this shot off, but Butler gets the shot off, misses the shot, and they come away and they get lucky. We just saw this afternoon in Milwaukee-Boston, where if you don't foul at the end of the game, these guys are good enough now in playoff situation to knock these shots down.
Houston just had poor execution down the stretch. Chris Paul, one of the better point guards in NBA history, he just misjudged that situation. Him and Eric Gordon got their signals crossed. Gordon came up. Chris Paul threw it a little bit too long. And then at the end of the ball game, you got a foul right there. So this is one of those things Houston can breathe a sigh of relief, say we escaped at the end of this game. We didn't play our best throughout. Outside of Harden and Capella, there wasn't a lot of great play on Houston's part. And then at the end of the game, Chris Paul making untimely mistakes that we're not used to seeing from him, and then Houston not fouling down the stretch. Obvious mistakes, but guess what? It doesn't matter. They won game one.
1-0.
We've all been doing this for quite a while. This is maybe the worst stat line I've seen from Chris Paul in a playoff game or any game. 14 points, 4 assists, 6 turnovers, 5 of 14 overall, 1 of 6 on threes. That's just not who he is, Isaiah.
It's not who he is, and it's not who he has been this whole season. However, when you're looking at the Timberwolves, you're looking at Tibbs, his defensive scheme, he's going to take some things away. And what he took away from Houston tonight was Chris Paul. He took Gordon away, all right? He took Ariza away. Now, but what happened, he gave Capella a big night.
Here is Coach Mike D'Antoni.
Hey, Mark. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Some thoughts about James's play in the second half.
Another day for James. I mean, he's done it all year, and he really stepped up. We were struggling to make shots, struggling really to have any kind of rhythm or play, and James just put us on his back, and he's been doing it for a while now.
As good as Clint was in the first half, you've talked so much about how he needs to be able to stay at that level. Do you feel like he got a little tired in the second half?
I don't think so. I think that he was pretty much. I mean, you can't just stay at the level he was the first half because then we wouldn't be talking about James Harden. We'd be talking about Clint all the time. I mean, he played really, really well, and I thought he had a good second half. He didn't have the same opportunities in the first half, but he defended well. He played well. I thought he was good the whole game. He was just exceptional in the first half.
Mike, Kim Davis, Chalk Talk. Can you just talk about offensively? Were they doing anything defensively?
Putting some hex on us or something. I don't know. Giving us a stink eye or something. I don't know. We just couldn't make a shot. I thought we were good shots, and when we had 4 or 5 guys just couldn't make a shot. It's just the way it is sometimes, which is encouraging because we don't want to rely on just making shots. I think last year we did that and previous teams, but we can win not making shots, and that's what's important. I thought our defense was pretty good the whole game. Excuse me, guys.
Coach, Andrew Chang, Southern Daily News. You guys clinched, the first seed a long time ago and had a lot of games where, it wasn't just meaningless, but it was more so not something where y'all really had to play too hard. Do you think that had an effect on kind of them coming out and being sluggish?
I think a little bit. I think just the build up to this game without having been distracted. I mean, we've probably been thinking about this for about like a month because we already quit thinking about the league because we already wrapped up first. And getting guys out, we're trying to rest guys and that's why I cautioned before. I mean, I understand it's in vogue to rest everybody, but, you got to get back in rhythm now. But like I said, I'm just glad we got it out, and now we can start playing some basketball.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Mike, what do you think were the key factors in keeping Towns from really getting involved offensively?
It happens, first of all, and I thought Clint did a great job, but, guys like Towns, we were doubling and trying to throw different things at him, and he never got his rhythm. We kind of forget, like, we're playing the eighth place team, right, or the 8th seed. Well, when they had Butler and he was healthy, they were the 3rd seed. So it's not like, they're back to the 3rd seed kind of strength. They're a good team. And it's going to be, we're going to have to play. We're going to have to play better, obviously, but really happy with the way it went, and we'll see what we can do Wednesday.
Mike, what happened on that free throw where the play sort of stopped?
Well, yeah, because, the referee said one. Everybody forgot it. We forgot, they forgot, and the referees forgot. That was one. Now, I don't know if they got walked when he got it or not. I'm yelling he walked. I have no idea. I'm just yelling. I was wondering what was happening, and they just took off. And it's one of those things we should have been aware of it a little bit more, or they just gave us the rope-a-dope and they took off. I don't know. But whatever happened, it wasn't good, was it?
Jonathan Fagan, Houston Chronicle. In games like this where you are getting your usual shots, but they're just not going, James normally just keeps feeding them. Was there anything that led you to see that he was going to just try and score and take over, or anything said that he was going to just look for his own shot rather than keep sort of going to those same threes?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, I think he would have gone there if they were open because they did a lot of staying at home. And he gave us a lot of, James 2-on-1 at the rim, and I think he recognized that and took advantage of it. I don't think it was a conscious, oh, they're not hitting. I think he has complete faith in them, and I do too. I mean, we take him, we lose that way, so be it. But he's just making the right play every time. A little bit is dictated by their defense, and a little bit that he was just filling his oats, and he was going after it.
Mike Brian Smith, Houston Chronicle. You've been with Clint for 2 years now. How much has his game evolved, especially when it comes to his confidence and being able to feed him early and really get you guys going in a game like that?
A lot, first of all, and I told him, I don't know if I told him, I might have told you guys, but he was sitting at the kids' table at the wedding for a long time, and now he's up to he's giving like toast and stuff like that. He's up with the guys, and they're having confidence in him, so he's matured a lot, and especially in the eyes of the other players, just the confidence they have in him. I mean, he's terrific, and he's really good. I think he's probably unevaluated. Probably won't be this summer when he gets paid, but right now he is. And people kind of sleep on him a little bit, but he's one of the better centers in the league. All right? All right, guys. Okay.
Somebody get Mike D'Antoni a cough drop, please. All right, highlights of Game 1, how the Rockets beat Jimmy Butler and the Timberwolves. Wolves in the playoffs for the first time since 2004. That was the year Kevin Garnett won MVP. Clint Capella was a rock star in the first half. He had 20 points.
Yeah, he had 20 points, and as Coach said, they were basically taking away their three-point shot, and they were playing two-man game in the middle, and it was Harden and Capella, who combined for a total of 68 points together. So those two definitely, read the defense well, as Rose just did here also.
I heard a tweet, D. Rose to the line. He had 16. Jimmy Butler had only 13.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler didn't have his best stuff tonight, but nice jab step three going right there.
Minnesota takes the lead, 36-34. Back comes Clint Capella, one of 3 rejections in the game. He had 24 and 12.
Yeah, 24 and 12, and those 3 rejections came up big. And again, you see he and Harden playing a two-man game in the middle of the floor.
Look at James Harden.
Oof. Dance on him.
Uh-oh.
Is that a walk, Isaiah?
No, that was just sweet.
Okay, we're going to see it close. In between cross, step back. That's 2 steps, right? A lot of people are complaining calling a walk. It's Harden's new version of the step back.
It's the Euro on the jump shot.
Okay. Nice. Houston led by 7 at halftime. Andrew Wiggins for 3. And Minnesota takes a 2-point lead. Wiggins had 18 in the game, but the MVP favorite went into takeover mode. Here, plus the foul on Derrick Rose.
Listen, Harden, when it was time to shine bright, he shined brighter than anybody else, and there he is with the thunderous jam, and it doesn't matter. Derrick Rose had no answers for Harden. Incredible handles, layups, and one Harden likes it. You see him flexing.
44 points. 5th 40-plus point playoff game of his career. We go to the 4th. Jamal Crawford, 4-3.
Big 3, big-time shot maker. And, Minnesota kept close. They kept doing the right thing. But Harden was just a little bit too much for them. And they needed every single point that Harden gave them tonight. Big strip there. And, again, Harden slows down, studies the defense, calmly drops the 3.
Timeout, Minnesota. And James Harden says, this is my house, and I'm the MVP. He was 7 of 12 from deep. 20 seconds left. Wolves down 5. Jimmy Butler's going to drive. Great defense by P.J. Tucker. Karl Anthony Towns is there. He had 12 boards. Makes it a 3-point game. Now, Paul thinks they're going to give the foul, but they don't.
Uh-oh.
And he throws it away.
Yeah, he got trapped in the backcourt, and most NBA teams aren't used to seeing traps in the backcourt. And therefore, he threw it away. Butler coming down here. D'Antoni wanted a foul before he got the 3 off, but Butler got the 3 off and still missed it.
Now, his right foot was inside the line, so they needed 3. If that had gone in, it would have been a 2-point shot.
Just a matter of, not understanding your foot spacing at that time. And at those point in times in the game, you have to be so conscious of shot space, foot space, and time on the clock.
I still feel it shouldn't even have got down to that point right there. Houston had to understand that, hey, you can't mess up that defensive possession. You have to get the call in from D'Antoni, who obviously called for the foul. You got a foul. I don't think we should even be talking about foot space. And Jimmy Butler should have been fouled before that, because when you put it down to a heave like that, anything can happen.
So we have heard from Mike D'Antoni. We've heard from you, great gentlemen. Now we hear from Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Tom Thibodeau.
Questions? Hey, Coach. Glenn Hill with the Houston Chronicle. Can you talk about Jimmy and Derek's individual defense on James Harden in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, there were several plays in which, I thought we defended well, and he made, and James is that type of player. I mean, we've seen it all year. Very difficult to guard. Basically, you have to guard him with your whole team. And it's not just his scoring, but his playmaking, all the things that he does.
What did they do to really limit Carl and what he could do on the offensive end?
Well, the switching and the double team, so and he's got to be more active.
Hey, Coach Kim Davis, Chalk Talk. Before the game, you talked about the Rockets' defense. Was it what you expected? Did they do anything more, or is this just?
Yeah, no, they're good. They're very good, and they're tied together. They do a lot of switching. Then after the switch, they read the ball extremely well. They react. They swarm, and so you got to make good decisions. You got to make good plays. You have to have the ability to read and react.
What did you see in this performance tonight that gives you confidence moving forward in the series?
Well, I thought we did a lot of things well. We didn't finish quarters the way we would have liked. They're a great team. We can't have lulls. And, I thought we were in position at the end to have an opportunity to win the game. So we want to take a look at the film, see where we can improve. And, we know how they're a great team. So we got to play for 48 minutes. Can't have those lulls that we had.
When you say Carl has to be more active, clearly he's the focal point of their game plan. How does he do that?
Well, you run the floor, you kick the ball out, repost, keep moving around, search it out, get to the offensive board. You got to sprint around. That's that's what. And you learn, when teams are double teaming you, that's what you have to do. You have to make the right play. And so you have to also get to positions in which where it's difficult for them to double team. And so transition's a big part of that, but you got to run the floor.
Phipps, can you build upon a performance like tonight where you had multiple guys contributing offensively in light of Cat not giving what you guys needed offensively?
Yeah, well, the important thing, it's not a one-on-one game. And so everyone has to understand that. So if they're going to double team, that means it's going to be easy for other people. And if they're going to switch, we have to make the right reads. And so if we're making the right plays, the game it will tell you who's going to get the shots. And as long as we take good shots, then I think we're going to score. We're usually we got to the line 28 times. So, that's a good thing. So I thought Wig got going and got hurt with foul trouble. I want to take a look at how the game was called because I thought, Teague was in foul trouble also. That hurt us. I thought Derek gave us a good lift off the bench. Thought Jamal gave us a good lift. Thought Jeff in the second half got aggressive, and we need that. We need him to attack. So the rebounding I thought was strong.
Anyone else? Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, so Tom Thibodeau with his comments. So we now welcome in Joe Borgia, NBA Senior Vice President of Replay and Referee Operations. And Joe, let's start in Cleveland with an illegal screen call on Larry Nance Jr. Can you walk us through what the officials were looking for in this particular instance?
Sure, Rick. First of all, that's the most common play in the NBA. We have over 200 screens a game. So what the officials are looking for, first they're looking, does Nance get directly in Oladipo's path and give him an opportunity to avoid contact? And then, which he actually does that. The problem is if you look at his stance, look how far his legs are apart. That's not a normal basketball stance. And the problem is Oladipo doesn't hit Nance in the chest. If he did, it'd be a legal screen. As Oladipo tries to go around the screen, he now trips over Nance's leg, which is extended way outside his shoulder. Therefore, it becomes an illegal screen at that point.
And a great explanation about how far his legs were. You just rarely see that. And Joe, I also want you to talk about a replay scenario from a foul during an inbounds play in the Oklahoma City game against Utah. Can you break down the process of reviewing this play back in Secaucus, New Jersey?
Sure, Rick. This is one of our triggers where the officials on the court, if they have doubt, they can come to the replay center. So on this play, we have a foul during a throw-in, so it's off-ball timing. And there was doubt whether Carmelo Anthony had released the throw-in yet. So when the officials came over, we showed him the far angle, and what you're going to see is he is held prior to the ball being released. So David Guthrie was the calling official on the court. He is on the headset, and he tells us in the replay center, who Derek Collins was here tonight, I have the foul here. We freeze the video, and then we looked over, and Carmelo was still holding the ball. That makes this an away from the play foul, which is one shot. Anybody in the game can shoot it, and they retain possession at the same spot. So the penalty is much stiffer on that, and that's why they're allowed to come to replay. Tough play. When you have action over here, you're watching it and then expected to see whether the ball was released or not. And it was less than half of a second. So very, very close play. Good thing they came to replay. We got it right.
Joe, we all appreciate how hard you and your staff and your referees work to get it right. And so we really appreciate the transparency here in these conversations as well. We will talk to you down the line. Continue to enjoy these playoffs.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
All right, Joe Borgia does a fantastic job, and so does this guy, James Harden. 44 big ones in the Game 1 win. You're going to hear from Harden in moments.